Is cutting USAID helping or hurting Africa? There's an African proverb that says, beggars can't be choosers. And for over 70 years, Africa has been treated like a beggar, forced to accept aid that often caused more harm than help. Today, I want to make a bold argument. Cutting USAID might actually be the best thing to ever happen to Africa. Let's be real. USAID was never just about helping. It came with strings attached, political influence, economic dependency, and often direct interference in the sovereignty of nations. It was rarely about development. It was about leverage. Whether it was funding regimes friendly to U.S. interests, influencing how countries vote in the UN, or forcing the privatization of state-owned industries, USAID has functioned as a soft power weapon, often cloaked in good intentions. They say slavery ended in Africa long ago, but with USAID and foreign aid, slavery evolved into a system of debt and dependency, where foreign powers don't need chains anymore. They use contracts, aid packages, and IMF loans. Let's talk facts. Since the 1950s, Africa has received over $1.2 trillion in aid. Yet more than 600 million people still lack access to electricity, and over 430 million live in extreme poverty. Meanwhile, Africa has lost more than 1.8 trillion in illicit financial flows, mostly due to multinational corporations underreporting profits and evading taxes. Aid is flowing in, but far more wealth is quietly flowing out. Let's zoom in. Nigeria, a country with 200 million people and one of the world's largest oil reserves, receives billions in foreign aid. Yet nearly 40% of Nigerians live in poverty, and over 80 million have no access to clean drinking water. Corruption is rampant, and local industries are stifled by a system that favors foreign contracts and dependency. Then we have the Democratic Republic of the Congo, home to $24 trillion worth of minerals. Yet in 2023, the country had a GDP of only $66 billion. Its GDP per capita? Just $664. Over 60 million Congolese live below the poverty line, while foreign companies extract cobalt to power smartphones and Teslas around the world. Child labor is rampant in Congolese mines. According to Amnesty International, children as young as 7 are forced to mine cobalt with their bare hands, while Western tech giants profit, claiming ignorance. And when USAID aid was recently cut, health systems in the DRC nearly collapsed, proving they were built on external funding, not internal resilience. Now contrast that with South Korea, Vietnam, and Brazil. In 1960, South Korea's GDP per capita was similar to Ghana's. Today, it's over 35,000. They invested in manufacturing, education, and infrastructure, not dependency. Vietnam rebuilt after war and U.S. sanctions to become a tech manufacturing hub, with exports hitting $370 billion in 2022. Brazil, through industrial growth and resource nationalism, became a top 10 global economy despite corruption, scandals, and political chaos. Meanwhile, Africa, despite being home to 60% of the world's arable land, 30% of the world's minerals, and the youngest, fastest-growing population, still ranks last in global development indexes. Why? Because most African leaders invested in staying in power, not in empowering their people. Many were kept in place with help from foreign aid, especially when they signed deals favorable to Western nations. Let's not forget Thomas Sankara. In just 4 years, he transformed Burkina Faso through food self-sufficiency, women's rights, and anti-corruption. He rejected foreign aid, saying, "He who feeds you controls you." He was assassinated in 1987, many believe with the backing of foreign intelligence agencies. His story isn't unique. Leaders who resist the global system of economic control are often destabilized or isolated. Meanwhile, puppet regimes are supported as long as contracts are signed and resources keep flowing. So what happens now that USAID is cutting back? It's not a tragedy, it's an opportunity, a clean slate, a wake-up call. Africa must stop outsourcing its future to Washington, Paris, or Brussels. The power to transform is in our hands. Through regional integration, through youth empowerment, through Pan-African trade and digital innovation. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA alone, could boost intra-African trade by 52% by 2035 without relying on foreign aid. That's the future we should be focused on. The 70-year shackles are finally coming off. This isn't a setback. It's a blessing in disguise. Africa doesn't need more aid. It needs ownership. It's time to stop begging and start building.